Hey guys, before we get in today's video, use coupon code FENTERTAINMENT24 at Alltrax.com to save money on your Alltrax AC1 Conversion Kit. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the Alltrax AC1 AC Motor Conversion Kit for your Club Car Precedent. Now this is everything that comes in the kit. Now this kit here is made for the Club Car Precedent 2004 to 2008 and a half. The golf cart that we're going to be installing everything in today is going to be a 2014 Club Car Precedent. Now, they sent this kit out. I think we had a little misunderstanding about which kit I needed, but it's okay because this right here, adapter plate, is really what's made for the 2004 to 2008 and a half to mount the controller to, the solenoid to, and all of that. I'm just going to take the controller and bolt it to my golf cart. We can just hard bolt it. It shouldn't be no problem. But let's go over a couple of things and what's included in the kit. Number one, we have our motor. This is a nice size motor here. And what I like about Alltrax is they said, you know what? Don't use those factory bolts. We're gonna send our hardware with it that we want you to mount with. So you got hardware here for we need to mount the motor to your rear end. Got some more wires. We got some zip ties and some wire loom here in the package. You have a ground wire here that's going to go to the axle. We have our motor controller. See everything what it looks like there. It's a big controller too. It looks very powerful. This is your remote for the dash or wherever you want to put it at. So you can set the region. And it's got a couple of different modes, in, 1, and 2. They give you a USB extension cable that you can mount somewhere onto the cart. And it also has a waterproof seal. So in case you want to mount it to one of your plastics somewhere, you can do that to easily access the USB so you don't have to worry about taking everything apart to connect your laptop or whatever. It comes with a new heavy duty cable here. This right here is going to go from the solenoid back to the controller, and this is 2 gauge. Comes with your hardware. And it also comes with this motor adapter here. This right here is going to connect these right here harnesses to your controller. This right here, 1 pin right here, is going to go to J1 right there. What I like about the Alltrax, I was thinking ahead, so you know what? Let's just give them all new phase cables. So I went ahead and clipped the cables here. These are 2 gauge cables, and they give you all 3 of these, so you don't have to worry about just adding one to your existing system like other AC kits. You also have a schematics or a wiring diagram. Everything's in color. Shows you everything you need to know about installing it and hooking it up. They also give you a little swag pack here with some stickers. Looks to be some keychains and other things. Now, once we went over everything, let's don't waste any more time. Let's jump in. Let's start prepping the cart so we can start installing this right here stuff on our Precedent. Now, in the last video, we installed a Vatra 48 volt, 105 amp hour lithium battery. If you have lithium in your golf cart, I would suggest turning it off. If you have lead acid batteries in your golf cart, I would suggest removing the positive and negative stud. I'm gonna turn my battery off. I'm gonna also hit the tow run switch to the tow position. Now, in order to remove this right here plate, we first need to remove this Torx bit screw here. That's gonna take a T40 Torx bit screw, like shown right here. Now, before you pull this plate out, like I've done already, if you have lead acid batteries, you need a piece of cardboard or a piece of wood or something to go between this plate here and the top of the batteries. You don't want to arc anything out. Now, since this right here is a lithium battery, we can lay it on top of the lithium battery. The posts are on the side, but remember the battery is also off. All right, we're going to start by removing the main harness away from the controller. We're going to remove both of these blue and orange cables. Let's go into the stock motor. We're not going to reuse those. We're also going to remove this 4-pin connector here. All right, the next thing we need to do is remove these cables here. We're not going to reuse any of these cables. Even the cable here, the yellow one that went to the solenoid, we're not going to use that one either because the kit came with a new cable. So we're going to use a 13mm socket to remove these 3 bolts away from the controller. Now we need to remove the controller away from this motor plate. Per Alltrax, they would recommend you upgrade to a 400 amp solenoid. Now on the solenoid here, in order to remove it from the Club Car Precedent platform, Just can wiggle it back and forth. It fits into place with these two wings here into this main bracket. The next thing we're going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the tow run switch with this green and this pink wire here, just so we can gain access to the controller plate here. So this is the stock controller plate from the golf cart. It still has the tow run switch in here. I may end up moving this right here switch over some just so I can mount the controller onto the back of this right here panel. See here, I believe that switch right there, I might move it up over here into the corner or something like that, so I'll have plenty of room to mount the controller there. So just a little tip, on the back of the control plate, you have these two nipples back here. The switch fits straight down, so the switch cannot turn or rotate in either direction. This right here boot is going to have the nut built inside of it, so that's what you're going to want to grab a hold to on the outside and spin off. Now the way the controller is sitting on this plate here, I'm thinking about just coming in here and whacking off this lower tab down here of the back of the plate. So will give us adequate amount of room to mount the controller. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this right here plate there. So just a small tip here, these pieces right here are pretty thin. I just put this right here plate in my vise, use some needle nose pliers, got it. You can see exactly right there where I was bending it back and forth, and it just popped off in one piece or two pieces, but it came out very easily instead of having to kind of grind it off or cut it off. So this right here is what it kind of looks like here. Got enough room here to mount the controller up against the top portion of it and against the bottom and the sides there. We should have enough room over here for the solenoid. We're going to test fit that as well. What I'm going to do is end up just marking my holes. I'll drill them and I'll just put some probably 1/4-20 bolts between the controller, the middle plate, and the outside. All right, so I got the controller bolted down to the plate. I drilled 4 holes, attached some 1/4-20 by 1 inch long bolts in place, washers, lock washers, and nuts. Went ahead and got my 400 amp solenoid on as well, and it's bolted down. All right, so let's stop the video here real quick and let's talk about the solenoid that I was using in this clip. This is a knockoff version of the MZJ400A. I bought this solenoid from Amazon and it is a knockoff version. You can also find the authentic version on Amazon as well. You just have to be careful with which listing you get from. One of the easiest ways to know that it's a knockoff version from Amazon, not only is it the price, but if you look at the very heading of the listing, it'll say it's an MZJ400A. But if you look at the body of the solenoid, there'll be a sticker that just says ZJ400A. Now I removed this solenoid the day that I was installing this on the golf cart, and it was working fine on the previous golf cart, but once I put it on this one, it wouldn't make contact. It would just sit there, buzz, and chatter. So I removed it, placed it back on the other golf cart. It seemed to work just fine. I replaced this right here within the next few days with a MZJ400, and at the end of this video you can see it works just fine with the authentic version of the MZJ400. This is the included cable going out of the solenoid. Be positive there, and that's where I'm at. So the next thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the USB extension cable. It also has a weatherproof connector on there as well. It comes with a washer and a nut there. So we're going to put that somewhere on the plate as well, so we can access the controller without having to pull everything apart. I'm going to probably put it, somewhere in this vicinity. I'm also going to drill another hole and put my tow run switch up there as well. All right, went ahead and put the tow switch in. Also got the USB extension cable ran to the controller plate, back to the controller as well. This is what it looks like, on and off. And then we screw this right here out. You can gain access to the controller that way. All right, so we got the controller plate built up, but now we're going to turn our attention back to the cart and look at some of the wiring. All right, so the first thing we need to locate is the black number 10 gauge wire here. We're gonna need to cut this right here ring terminal off and put the extension cable on that's provided by Alltrax. This is the extension cable, and the rest of the ring terminals we're gonna put on in the following steps. Now that the black extension cable is crimped on, see the yellow ring terminal back? This connects to the fuse here. We need to cut this right here ring terminal off and install the one that they provided. It's got a bigger diameter opening here. Just for comparison, you can see the opening on the new one that they provided is a little bit bigger. All right, now since that ring terminal has been replaced on the red wire, Let's move over to the wire here with the white label on it. We're going to need to remove this right here connector and install a ring terminal on it that was provided with the kit as well. Alright, the ring terminal is installed on the pink wire that runs to the tow run switch. The next thing we need to do here is to take off the blue and the light blue and dark blue spade connectors here. They've given us ring terminals and the kit to connect to the new solenoid, so that's what we're going to do next. Alright, those two ring terminals are on as well. Alright, we got the ends connected to the harness. Before we go any further, I think it's time, let's go ahead and mount the motor on the transaxle. Alright, so I went ahead and removed the access panel on the back of the golf cart. The motor here, I went ahead and removed the 3 bolts from there. One here, and one here. Those are 1/4 bolts. This is the length of it here, a couple of inches. I used a 7/16 gear wrench to remove those with. I love these things. I'll place a link to these in the description below as well. The motor is now free from the transaxle. We need to go ahead and remove it and pull it through the access panel. Went ahead and pulled the cables out from the box. The only cable that's going into the box there is for the speed sensor connector. Went ahead and unplugged it as well. So that's what the stock motor looks like once it's free to come out. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to just take these bolts that came with the system, put them back in the motor. I'm doing that because the new Alltrax motor comes with its own bolts. There's the old motor. Got it out now. I was sitting back here, I just put the motor here. I was looking, that's a sharp motor. I like the blue. Maybe we ought to do something blue on this card here. I'm not sure, but that's a good looking motor. I like the back of it. It's got the Alltrax embossed. So these are the new bolts that we're going to use. That was included with the kit here. It's got a lock washer and a washer to prevent it bottoming out the casing. We're also going to be using a 3/16 Allen head wrench here to tighten these right here down. That's what they use. Now, also when we're putting the motor in, we can put the one in and we can put the second one in at the very bottom, but the Alltrax also has a ground wire that connects to the transaxle and runs back to the controller. This is included in the kit as well. I'll show you that, as well as the speed sensor wires and temperature sensor of the wires of the motor as well. So we'll try to get this right here motor put into place, and once we get it in, I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about with the bolts, the wires, and everything else. This motor right here weighs 69.9 pounds. Right at 70 pounds. It's not light. I don't know how much the other one weighs, probably 30-40 pounds, so this one's got a little bit more weight to it. I've got a 2-inch strap. If I could just maybe get it into place with the strap itself, and then maybe try to work it onto the shaft of the rear end, I might try that. Not sure, kind of at a loss for words. I do not want to mess anything up. I know everyone's like, well, why don't you just wait till somebody comes home? Well, you got a point. I could, or I could just try to do it myself. I don't like asking for help unless I really need to. So if I cannot get this by myself, then I will ask for help. But I can at least get it down here. The strap is kind of holding it. It is not on the shaft, but it's right there at the shaft. I think one thing I can do is I can hold the strap with my left hand, maybe get it into place with the right hand. That way, you guys might not be able to see much, but one thing I don't want to do is drop it in front of the axle. Oh my God, it's on. Whew. It is on. If you're doing this by yourself, get a strap. That worked out so much better. I can upload this right here clip in real time so you can see that as well. So I'm just pulling the strap out. But the motor is in place. I don't have any bolts in there just yet, but we were able to get it in place by ourselves with just a strap. So this right here, white wire, came in the package with the split loom and the zip ties. And this right here has got a spade terminal on it and a ring terminal. So we're going to carry this to the center mounting bolt of the transaxle. And this spade cable here is going to go to the male spade stud on the bottom of the controller. All right, so next thing we got here is the AC1 Roll Detect Bypass Kit. That's for when you go from DC to AC. We'll explain what the kit says here. Conversion from DC to AC requires the solenoid coil positive to bypass the key switch and go directly to the tow run power. In the rollaway event, the DC motor controller had an internal bypass resistor with enough power to stop the car. In an AC car, that process is quite different and requires more energy to excite the AC motor magnetic field to stop the car. Thus, the AC controller detects a rollaway condition. It requires the solenoid to engage to provide the power necessary to stop the car. This is a problem if the key switch is off. The AC controller cannot engage the solenoid. So the key switch wire to the solenoid coil positive terminal is removed and capped off with a crimp. The included ATC fuse assembly is connected to the tow run output and bypass power to the solenoid coil positive. The controller now has a complete control of the solenoid to activate it if it happens to roll away in the event. So this right here is going to go between the tow run switch and the solenoid positive. So basically that's what it looks like. It went on the bottom of the tow run switch. It's going to the positive of the solenoid. Also want to add this in here, Alltrax FN used with Club Car IQ, check wiring first. The 16-pin connector must have pin 4 and pin 11 open. Okay, pin 4, user 2, pin 11, user 1. Pin 4 on some cars goes to the OBC with gray 15-15-5201 Curtis. Green-white wire is pulled high by the OBC when everything is normal. Low when a problem exists. Troubleshooting switching the FN norm works, user 1 works, but switching to user 2 causes the car to report norm because the OBC pulled from user 2 line is high. Newer Ericsson cars without OBC called Onward XL with a 15-15-5206 white controller, a dash battery light connected to pin 11 with blue-yellow wire. The light goes to the battery negative but will keep the car in user 1 as it pulls it low. Bottom line, install a FN, check pin 4 and 11, cut the wire 4 and 11 if installed, and tape up both sides of the wire as there may be voltage on each side. 15-5206. And we need to make sure we don't have pin 4 or 11 if it's installed. If we do, we need to cut the wire and probably put heat shrink on both sides. So looking at the harness, white is 1, yellow is 2, purple is 3, 4 is open, so we don't have to worry about the 4 wire. All right, look here, pin 9 is going to be gray, pin 10 is beige, and then pin 11 is blue. And if we look back here, that blue wire has a yellow stripe on it, so we're going to need to cut this right here wire and put some heat shrink on both sides of it. All right, looks like everything is now connected. This is right here, little wires going to the rear axle, ground on one of the studs. This right here is going to the FN key. Got our main harness in. These two wires here are going to the motor, temp sensor, and speed sensor. Our phase cables are on, power and ground is on. We have our USB extension cable there. This cable here is for the CAN bus, or that connector is for the CAN bus. This one originally went to the tow run switch. Now it says in the instructions to combine the green wire from the tow run switch to the fusible link. So you want to go ahead and do that. I didn't show that in this clip, but it is combined. This blue one here originally went to the solenoid. We're not using that one either. We have our pink wire, our red wire, and our power wire going to the input side of the solenoid. Output of the solenoids coming down into the power wire, so we're good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and place everything back into the original spot. Once we get it back there, I'll probably go up in the back end and tie some stuff up. All right, so there's the motor. Got my phase cables. We have the speed sensor and the encoder wire. We have the little white wire going to the controller. The controller is mounted on the plate with the solenoid. I removed that piece of plastic in the back. It's just kind of real thick back there. And the way I mounted the controller against that plate there was interfering with some of the plastic on top. Everything is in and working. Now I'm going to conclude the video here. We're just going to make this right here a tutorial video. And we went over majority of the things to install this right here conversion onto the golf cart. We're running the Vatra battery in here. I have coupons for that where you can save money on the Vatra as well, listed below, as well as the Alltrax AC1 that we put on today's video. Go to alltrax.com, use coupon code FENTERTAINMENT24 to save money on your AC1 conversion kit. Now we're going to conclude the video here and end it. I will throw some clips up of us having some fun with it. In the next video, we're going to go over all the programming features and stuff like that. But I just wanted to make this video right here a simple video just for the installation. And then we're going to do the programming features next. And then we're going to start checking this thing out with the battery systems, because this right here will work with 24 volts, 36, 48, and 72 volt batteries. So we're going to try to check each system in this golf cart. Well guys, I appreciate you watching today's video. Until next time, we'll see y'all later. Be sure to stick around and see some of the little fun that we've been having with this little AC1 kit here and this 48 volt battery. See y'all next time. I'm good? Yep. Yep. Go. Ready? Yeah. New toy. 48 volt. Alltrax AC1. Small tires, no back seat. You ready?
We're riding the golf cart. There's nothing for me to hold on to. Wait.